Hello everyone, Salt here. Welcome to the video. Today we are going to be going over the Sentinel, the Oxylus. Now the Oxylus is a pretty interesting little Sentinel. It's more of a utility Sentinel in that you're going to be using it for fishing and mining pretty much. Especially fishing, but the way I have it set up also helps with mining. So this is not necessarily a steel path endurance Sentinel. There's no mods that he gets specifically that makes him like niche in any way really for steel path endurance. He's really just for fishing and mining. But you know that's an important part of the game. So I just wanted to show off this build because it will help some people doing those things. Okay, so the Oxylus, let's get into him here. He's obtained through, I believe it's Fortuna. There is a vendor there, and you can buy him through that. Now, for mods, let me show you the Oxylus specific mods. So he has three specific mods for Oxylus. He's going to have Scan Aquatic Life Forms. This is going to reveal reveal hotspots within 100 meters, and the super good thing is it applies dye for free to fish within 40 meters. So it will dye your fish for you, so easy to fish while you have this guy up. He's going to have Botanist, which is going to scan plants, and it's going to put those plants in your inventory. So if you're at the point where you're making apothic potions to do like the whole, you got to kill those little earth fairy things to get parts or mods, then this is really good for you here because the apothics can be very expensive as far as like plants go to craft. So Botanist is going to let him just scan any kind of plants within 50 meters, and it consumes codex charges. So you do have to make sure you have like your codex scanner on your wheel, and he'll just automatically use it for you. Now, a lot of things that I see people saying in like some forums is that well Helios just does this anyway, and it's true. Helios will scan plants, and you'll get the plants from the Helios scans. But once Helios is finished scanning that particular plant and your codex is full, he will no longer scan that plant. Helios only scans until your codex is full. Once your codex is full, he doesn't scan anymore, that particular item. But Oxylus will. Oxylus will continue to scan plants. So that's the big difference there, is that Helios seems amazing because he scans everything, and this guy only scans plants. But Helios only scans to 10 or whatever it takes to fill that codex up. Okay, and then the other one that Oxylus comes with that I don't think is that good, but it's going to be Scan Matter. Resource containers within 60 meters are revealed on the minimap for 8 seconds every 30 seconds. The reason I don't think this is very good is because I feel like on most Sentinels you should be running, on most companions period in the game, you should be running Primed Animal Instincts, which is going to give you that 55-meter loot radar. But I guess for some reason, if you don't run Primed Animal Instincts, you can run Scan Matter, but I just feel like Primed Animal Instincts is better. So out of the three Oxylus mods, we're going to run 2 of them. We're not going to run the Scan Matter because we have Primed Animal Instincts. Okay. So like one of the big things with fishing and mining is getting interrupted by enemies. And that's what this build is going to focus on. This build is going to focus on you being able to mine and fish without constantly being interrupted by enemies. There's 2 really good Sentinels for that. First one is Oxylus, because Oxylus actually gives you fish dye, so you can see the fish. And the other one is going to be Djinn. Djinn is going to have a mod that lets him shoot 60 meters away, where most other Sentinels can only shoot 30 meters. Now, I still think Oxylus is the better utility choice out of them, because he can kind of do the fish thing and he can do the botanist thing. But maybe I'll do like a Djinn build next week, showing off a similar thing where it's like, I named this "Leave Me Alone, I'm Baitin'," because this is like it's a build where you just want to fish, you just want to mine, you don't want to be screwed with from enemies. So maybe next week I'll do another one like that for Djinn, using his 60-meter ranged attack. So okay, so mods. We're gonna have enhanced vitality for health, calculated redirection for shield capacity. We're not going to go with the metal fiber because he has very poor starting armor. So 250% doesn't actually get that 80 that much higher. And so we're just going to kind of forego armor. Usually you do go health armor together, but we're just going to kind of forego it because it doesn't really bring it up in any kind of meaningful way. So we just go with vitality, redirection. Next one here, we're going to go with Contagious Bond. And Contagious Bond and Fired Up are going to combo with the weapon we choose to use on Oxylus. So just bear with me until we get to that weapon. But let's go over Contagious Bond here. When your companion kills an enemy afflicted with a status effect, 50% of that status effect spreads to other enemies within 9 meters. So whenever your Oxylus, we're going to be using the Verglas on him. So whenever that Verglas kills an enemy, half of those statuses are going to spread to other enemies. So it's going to turn the Verglas, which is probably one of the best single target Sentinel weapons in the entire game, into more of like have a little bit more of like an AoE potential. Fired Up is going to give you a 5% heat damage on weapon per hit, and it stacks up to 100%. So this is effectively just 100% heat damage. Not very exciting, but it's going to help the Verglas, and that's why we choose it. Next, we're going to have Primed Animal Instincts. This is going to give us our loot radar and enemy radar. Vacuum, which is going to give us the gather link. Pick up your loot, basically. Most of the time, I go with primed regen also for Sentinels. And I'm going to make a little bit of an exception for Oxylus. You could still run it, though. You could still run primed regen, and you would probably just take off Guardian. Guardian's still really good, though. But when you're fishing, there's probably no reason to run primed regen. Your Sentinel probably has no fear of dying, really. When you're going for plants, when you're going to scan plants with Botanist, he also probably has no chance of dying. But there's kind of like, I like to kill two birds with one stone a lot of times, where I try to do multiple things at once. And sometimes, like, if you want to do, like, let's say your Kuvaliches, where they start on Earth, you might want to run Oxylus. That way you can get plants and do your Kuvalich at the same time. In that case, maybe Prime Regen would be worth it, because there is a chance for him to die doing the Kuvalich missions, because they are a little bit harder. But other than that, I think most of the time when you're mining or when you're fishing, you're not going to be doing that on Steel Path. And so Prime Regen is not really super needed. But like I said, there is that niche case where you're going to be doing plants and liches at the same time, where maybe you want to use Prime Regen. Because Prime Regen will just make it where your Sentinel comes back quicker if he dies. Alright, so next we're going to have Guardian. Guardian is one of the strongest preset mods in the game. It's pretty simple. When your shields go down to 0, he's going to boost them back up to 100%. Now, I'm using a Naros right now. A Naros has no shields. So in the case for a Naros or Nidus, who also has no shields, there's another one called Metaray. And it's the same exact polarity. You can just go boop and plop it right over there. And so this one is shields, and this one is health. Except the health one doesn't restore you fully. The health one is just going to restore 12% of your health over 4 seconds. So once in a while, he's just going to shoot that little healing beam at you. It's going to heal you up. That's really good for Inaros and Nidus. You can use it for other Warframes too, but I think for other Warframes that have shields, Guardian's going to be better. So I'm going to put my little Guardian back, even though I'm using Inaros. Just because I will probably not use Inaros when I'm doing fishing or plant gathering. Next here we have our botanist and scan aquatic life forms. We already talked about those. We're going to have assault mode because he is going to keep enemies off of us while we are doing our fishing. So we need to have him able to shoot. And that's it. That's it for the mods there. Let's get into Verglas. The Verglas is probably the single strongest sentinel weapon in the entire game. The issue that it has, and why sometimes it's not used, is because it's a single target weapon, so it only hits one target at a time unless you use punch through. If you use punch through, it can hit multiple targets if they're like behind each other. So it only hits one target at a time, and it only has limited status. It doesn't have IPS stats. So like a lot of our other builds, they use the, I think it's called Manifold Bond, where like preset mods apply statuses. And in that case, like Verglas is not the best weapon for it. Even though the Verglas is very powerful, it doesn't have a lot of statuses on it. So like there's a lot of cases that even though Verglas is the most powerful sentinel weapon, you don't use it a lot of times because it doesn't combo with certain mods. Okay, so the Verglas. It has viral and heat. The Verglas actually comes with cold and innate. Now, the unfortunate thing is the game reads things from left to right. So you can't, if I was to take off cold, because I'm like, oh, the Verglas gives me cold, so I don't need this cold one. I take that off. Well, now the game is going to read it left to right, and it's going to read toxin and heat, and it's going to try to make gas. So even though the weapon starts with cold, and you wouldn't think you needed to add cold to make viral because, you know, hey, toxin and cold make viral, you still need to add your cold mod. That way it reads it correctly. So let's put our rhyme rounds back on. Okay, so the weapon starts with cold, but it doesn't really matter because we're going to have to put cold on it also. Has very poor crit chance, very good status chance, and so we're going to forego crit chance, and we're going to go all status. That's why we're using a lot of the 60/60s. So we're going to be using split chamber to give us multi-shot. A lot of times when we're building weapons, we use galvanized chamber because galvanized chamber it's 80%. Split chamber is 90, so split chamber is 10% higher, but galvanized chamber has those conditionals that give it more multi-shot. Now there are ways to make your sentinel able to kind of stack the conditional buffs of these, like galvanized aptitude, of galvanized chamber. I don't know if galvanized scope would stack with sentinel weapons, maybe not. But it requires you to be using the weapon. It requires you to be stacking those things. And because this build is more focused on your fishing and just leave me alone, I'm not actually the one shooting things, we're not going to be using those. So we're going to go with split chamber because it's higher than 80%. It's 90% multi-shot. Next, we have primed shred for fire rate and punch through. Now, there is another option in this slot called Vile Acceleration. So Prime Shred is 55 fire rate. Vile Acceleration is 90 fire rate. So Vile Acceleration has a higher fire rate. But Prime Shred has punch through. Now, in tight areas, that punch through is really, really going to help because the Verglas's whole weakness is that it can only attack one thing at a time. So with punch through, sometimes it can attack 1, 2, maybe even 3 things if they're really tightly packed together. So Prime Shred is amazing in tight situations. Vile Acceleration, if there is a single target that your Verglas is shooting at, Vile Acceleration will 100% of the time be better than Prime Shred because obviously that punch through is not getting any effect on a single target. So keep that in mind. They're both really good. They're just better in certain situations. We're going to be going for Serration for flat damage. We're going to be going for Vigilante Armaments for multi-shot. And then for our statuses, we're going Rhyme Rounds and Malignant Force to make viral. And then we're going to be going Thermite Rounds, which is the 60-60 heat, and Hellfire, which is the 90% heat, to add fire to the weapon. The reason we're doing both heats is to try to increase that heat weighting. So if you see here, our heat weighting is still lower than our viral, which kind of sucks. You know, you could do the shenanigans where you don't use a full ranked rhyme, or you don't use a full ranked malignant force to try to get your viral weighting lower than your heat weighting. But I mean, honestly, it doesn't even matter. It's still going to basically do what it's supposed to do. So, and I don't like using unranked mods myself. I have a little bit of OCD with that. But you could technically do that to decrease your viral weighting and have more chance to produce heat procs. But I think it would also decrease your status chance too, which might hurt you. So maybe not. Maybe not. And keep in mind, we're gonna have. Hey Slurp, how you doing this morning? I like that emote, little cat with glasses. We're gonna have that fired up mod on our Oxylus itself, which is gonna give us another 100% heat. So that's gonna help as well. So, alrighty, I think that's it for the Verglas here. So what I want to do is I want to go into a Steel Path Kuva survival first. I want to show off how strong the Verglas is. And then after that, I want to show off the Oxylus mods where I want to show how it does with like scanning plants, and I want to show how it does with dying fish. So. Now, some people might, already know a lot about the game, so that this might not give a super amount of information to those people. But for other people that are still kind of like either new or maybe midway in the game where they have to do a lot of fishing and mining, this build might help a lot. So these are going to be Steel Path Grenier. I have no form of armor strip other than the Verglas having heat, which doesn't fully strip. And you're just going to see how strong the Verglas is. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to kind of sit in the middle right here. And we'll just let our little Oxylus, show its little thing. Now again, you're not going to be using Oxylus. Yeah, the new update is out. I've already completed my my thingies. It was pretty fun. It was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a little bit harder. I'm not trying to sound like an elitist with that. I was just kind of hoping they were going to add maybe another endless mode is really what I wanted. I wanted an endless mode that maybe starts at level 500 or 1000. I feel like the game maybe needs a Steel Path Plus mode. Oh, from the clan? If you were 60 days out, we kind of just auto kick everyone that's 60 days out. But if you're on Discord or something, or you just message me in game, I'll get you right back in the clan. It's no problem. It's just one of those things where it's we just automatically do it for anyone that's 60 days out, unless you give us a heads up. If you give us a heads up that's hey, I'm going into the military for a few months, in boot camp, we'll hold your spot. Or hey, I'm going to be in college for a few months, and we'll hold your spot or something for you. But if you didn't tell us that, you might have got kicked after 60 days. But we'll scoop you right back up. It's no problem. So you see the Verglas is really, really strong. So it's going to be just slaying through these Steel Path enemies. Because of the Contagious Bond, I think it's called, it's going to spread those... Oh yeah, it's no problem. It's no problem. Hey, it happens, real life happens, and we understand that. I hope everything's been good with you. So because of Contagious Bond, it's going to spread 50% of the statuses every time he kills something. So he's going to kill this dude, and then boom, then these guys get 50% of those statuses. So even though the Verglas is a single target weapon, it gives it a little bit more AoE potential. I mean, look at these guys. I'm not doing anything. They have like 400 fire procs on them. It's crazy. So, all right, I just wanted to show off that Verglas there. So that's how powerful it is. I mean, this thing is crazy. I've only been in here for 2 minutes, and it's at almost 200 kills. That's better than some weapons I've tested. And this is a friggin' Sentinel weapon on the Oxylus, which is not even a Steel Path Endurance Sentinel. So let's abort out of here, and I just want to show the other things the Oxylus can do. Alrighty, let's show off his plant gathering. So I'm just going to go into an Earth Prime. We'll do it on Steel Path because he can still slay through Steel Path enemies. Now, it's basically going to be the exact same thing Helios does. It's just that Helios will stop doing it once the Codex scanner is full. So if you want to continue gathering plants, you're either going to have to do it manually yourself, or Oxylus is going to have to do it for you. So I'm just going to kind of walk through here, and eventually he'll start scanning. Oh, he scanned something. I got 2 Dragon Lilies. I got 2 Thresh Cones. I don't even know what the hell he's scanning. Got 2 more Dragon Lilies. Got 2 more Thresh Cones. I think I have a booster too, so you might only be getting 1 yourself. I got 4 Thresh Cones there. 6 Thresh Cones. I think it's just adding up. So I'm just randomly walking around the mission, not really doing anything, and I've gotten a crap load of plants doing this. So if you are at that like early or mid stage of the game where you're crafting Apothix to try to get some of like the aura mods, I think Growing Power, which is a very strong aura mod, comes from Apothix, then Oxylus is going to be perfect for you. Because you could just do a little Earth mission like this. Just kind of run around, get your kills. Of course, I'm not killing anything myself. It's just Verglas going through these guys here. Oh, look, he scanned that guy. Got 2 Jade Leaf. And so that's what he does for scanning plants. Let's abort out of here, and we'll show the fish gathering. All right, I'm going to go on Earth again. I'm just going to go on Plains Eidolon. Doesn't matter. I'm going to have it on Steel Path, but it doesn't really matter because he can kill all kinds of stuff. Eximuses might take him a little bit to kill, but he still will kill Eximuses. They just might be tanky enough to get up on you and start shooting. So Eximuses might be where like his preset mod Guardian would come in, where if they do get up on you, he'll be able to restore your shields if you need it. So let's get over to the water here. If you look at my mini-map, it's actually got a little fish symbol, so it actually shows you that there's a spot right here. This is Oxylus. Sorry, clear my throat here. This is Oxylus. He is not a good endurance Steel Path Warframe, just because he doesn't have any specific mods that actually combo to give you any kind of power in Steel Path Endurance. He's more of a utility sentinel. So he's going to help you fish and mine. Specifically fish, but the way we have him set up, he's also going to help mine because he's going to help shoot enemies around you that are trying to beat you up while you're mining things. So, but this is what Oxylus does. I haven't thrown any kind of dye into this little lake here, and I can see all the fish. So he's going to save you from having to buy dye. And if you look at the mini-map, you can also see the little fish symbol. So it's going to show you where fishing spots are. So again, there's a fish symbol right here. Boop. And there's another fish symbol like right over here if you look in the top left in the mini-map. So that's the Oxylus. I'm going to abort out of here. I'm going to go back to Orbiter. And we'll just go over him one more time, like really quickly, just because this is a shorter video. I thought this would be a fun video, though, just because I I think the Oxylus is a very good Sentinel. He has good purpose in the game. So you're going to get him from Fortuna. There's a vendor there that sells him. I mean, you could take him in Steel Path Endurance. I just wouldn't recommend it because out of his, if we like type in Oxylus, out of his 3 mods that he gets specifically, Botanist, Scan Aquatic Life Forms, and Scan Matter, they don't actually do anything to increase your power strength. Like they don't give you anything that you would actually be looking for in a Steel Path Endurance mission. So I wouldn't suggest bringing him in Steel Path Endurance. Although he could live. I mean, the Verglas would be killing things in there. It's just that he wouldn't really be doing anything else for you there. So we're not going to use Scan Matter because Primed Animal Instincts is going to give us that 55 meter loot radar. So I don't see a big point in Scan Matter. But we are going to be using Scan Aquatic Life Forms. That's going to be the one that is going to dye those fish for you so you can see them easier. We're going to use Botanist, which is going to be the one that scans plants for you. And he's going to scan plants all the time. It's not like Helios where he only scans to fill up your codex. He's going to scan plants all the time. Enhanced Vitality, Calculated Redirection for our survivability on him. Contagious Bond is going to spread 50% of the statuses to enemies within 9 meters. So that's going to give Verglas a little bit more AoE potential. Because Verglas is very strong, but it's a single target weapon. Or single target weapon. Fired Up is going to give that Verglas a little bit more heat damage. Primed Animal Instinct is going to give us that loot radar, enemy radar. Vacuum is going to pick up our loot for us. Assault Mode is going to make him shoot. And Guardian, you can switch Guardian for Meta Ray depending on, like I'm using an Inaros, or if you're using Nidus that also doesn't have shields, obviously you wouldn't use Guardian. You could switch it for Meta Ray. It's the same polarity, so it'd be an easy switch. But I think for every other Warframe, Guardian's going to be better. And then on the Verglas, we're going to be going for Split Chamber for 90 multi-shot. Prime Shred for fire rate and punch through. In open world missions, Vile Acceleration might be better. So Vile Acceleration might be better in open world missions, like where you're fishing, because a lot of times you're not getting attacked by groups of enemies, you're getting attacked by singles, and so the punch through might not really take effect with Prime Shred. And so Prime Shred gives you 55 fire rate, Vile Acceleration gives you 90. So in those single target situations, Vile Acceleration will be better than Prime Shred. But in any situations where enemies can group up, like maybe you're getting plants from like Earth Prime or something, Prime Shred will probably be better. And any other content where enemies can group up, Prime Shred will definitely be better. Serration for flat damage. Vigilante Armaments for multi-shot. Rhyme Rounds and Malignant Force to make our viral. Thermite Rounds to give us heat. And Hellfire for more heat. That way we can increase our heat weighting. And that's pretty much it for the Oxylus there. Just wanted to show them off. I think it was going to be like a fun video today showing off the Oxylus. I think it's going to help some newer players and medium or like mid-game players where they still need to do a lot of farming for resources. Oxylus is amazing for that. For end-game players, this build might not be very interesting or very helpful, but I think for mid-game players, it'll still be very good. So that should be it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you liked it, give it a like. And you guys have a good day. Bye.